Good morning. Happy Sensational Saturday, everyone. I am Dr. Sheikah Houston, and welcome to the R.E.A.L.L Academy. Tammy and I are still on fire from Principal Hertz podcast this morning and from us attending the PLC conference that we just attended this week. So for our SEL check-in for today, if you would, put in the comments any great PD that you have attended this year so far, this summer, or if you're a parent, any types of vacations that you have attended so far this year are gone on. And Tammy's going to finish the greetings and I'm going to feed us through to the groups. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Sheikah. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to our Saturday R.E.A.L Academy. Sheikah and I are so appreciative of you joining us. Good morning, Melissa. We are, as Sheikah said, so excited about the podcast with Principal Hurt this morning. As always, he was absolutely blazing. Hey, Jasmine. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Michael Benton is with us and Mr. Davis from Las Vegas. We are so happy to have you guys on with us this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We, as Sheikah said, went to a PLC Institute last week and it was absolutely incredible. I had been toying around with how I was going to wrap up things in chapter 5 and just couldn't wrap my mind around it. But now I know exactly how I'm going to wrap chapter 5 up. So I am super excited. Hi, Robert Ham's on with us this morning. Good morning, Mr. Ham. Hey, Principal Hurt. Good morning. Good morning. Dot McKeever Jeter is on here with us. And we have our big brother who just came to us with the top 10 traits of a successful school leader. You certainly were on fire this morning, Principal Hurt. Thank you so much. Guys, you all, if you're new and you haven't joined us before, we want to just thank you for being with us. And we see some new names. Kathy Huey is on and Yolanda Nesbitt, Dr. Carla Bester. Thank y'all for joining us this morning. And if you haven't been with us before, hey, Dr. Ross, thank you so much. We want to just kind of give you an idea of who you're listening to this morning so that you know you are in the right place. We, first of all, are super elated to be a part of the Fantastic Four PD with Principal Hurt, who just was on at 10. We are, of course, following him at 10:30, and then Principal Kafele is going to be on at 10:55, and then tomorrow night, unlike the middle, is going to be on with Josh and Dean. And we are just humbled to be a part of such a dynamic PD group because we're here to provide opportunities to share and to pour into people the way that folks have poured into us. And those people that we just named are some of those amazing people who don't mind sowing into you and giving you what you need to be a better principal. And Sheikah and I just decided that we are problem solvers. We want to be that for the field of education because that's going to have to look differently if we're really going to make a difference in the lives of our kids. And so we committed to being a part of this foursome, and we're going to continue to come to you guys with PD and strategies for doing what you do in your schools and helping you to be able to do those things better. We right now are really focused on the school improvement process and helping people to avoid some of the pitfalls that we had because we didn't have anyone who could help us during these times when we were facing some very tumultuous times in our schools. So we're very, very thankful for the opportunity to be here and to have so many of you with us this morning. Hey, Leah is on with us, and we're glad to see her all the way from Detroit. Thank you so much. And again, we are thankful for each one of you. Melissa, you are always a treat to have on with us, and we're thankful for each and every one of you. Good morning, Marisha. And we, as Sheikah said, are still just on super high from the PLC conference. I have attended conferences in the past, and the thing that I think that always resonates with me when you leave that conference, you leave with the energy for going back to your school and making it a place where students can thrive, where staff can thrive. And I think it always is something that's very powerful to take back, because we have to remember that PLCs are not something that we do, it's who we are. And if that is the journey that you're on, we certainly recommend that you go and see some of these amazing educators. Dr. Anthony Muhammad was there, who was absolutely uh, anti. I mean, he was into like multi-dimensional. He was in a whole different world.
He was.
Louis Cruz was there. I mean, it was so many powerful people who absolutely just pour into you, that you are able to go into your setting, no matter what your context is, and make a difference for your staff and for your students. My team was absolutely blown away.
Yes, and it makes a difference when you can attend something and you come back on fire with the information, and you're ready to hit the ground running. Tammy, like you said, good morning again, everyone. I'm finished feeding through to all of our groups. Please make sure you don't keep us to yourselves. We are doing this podcast, of course, or video cast for free, and we're paying it forward. So we want to help other leaders, educators, parents with students and solving problems in education, because this will definitely be the thing that helps move schools and children forward. So thank you all for joining us. The thing that I took to again from the conference, Tammy, was that just like you said, PLCs are not just something that some people minimize it to filling out forms. And it's not just filling out the form, it's not a meeting, it's the whole process. And we really have to make sure that we send that message when we are going back, to get the rest of our people excited about it. So this morning, what Tammy and I wanted to talk about is how you can use that PLC process to navigate school improvement or avoid school improvement, because that whole process in itself is a tumultuous task, and it can be overwhelming. But there are certain strategies that you can put in place to make sure that you get through it successfully.
Yes, definitely.
One of the other things that I love that Dr. I think, who was the opening keynote? It wasn't Dr.
Tim
Muhammad.
Brown.
Yes, he talked about how a lot of the research for solution tree and PLCs were rooted in the effective schools research, which I was happy to know. This was my first PLC conference, that our research is rooted in the philosophies of Ron Edmonds and the school improvement process. So I was happy to know that. But one of the solutions, Tammy and I are your problem solving leaders and educators. One of the solutions that we thought about when they talked about forms killing that PLC process for your teachers or for your educators or for your school, one thing that you can do is give teachers an option to, there's so much technology and so many software programs that you can use that will allow your team to be able to record their conversation, because the conversation and the collaboration is the main thing that you want to happen. You don't want the entire process to be reduced to, oh, here we have to go fill out these forms. You want it to be rooted in, we're really looking at these questions and using these questions to drive what we're going to do to improve our school. And one of the first things we have to do, that Dr. Muhammad really did a great job of just breaking that whole thing down, is talking about your why we are doing what we're doing. Sometimes we miss that part. We just jump right in. We're on fire, just like Tammy and I talked about it. We just dive right in and think everybody has the same energy about it that we do, and they don't. So you have to level set people. And one of the things that was a part of that school improvement process that helped develop that why, how did we even get here? And why do we have to do this, was that root cause analysis. And with my staff, the thing that was the epiphany for me, I knew why I felt like we were there, but the staff had a different thinking than what I had. And so when I discovered that a lot of them felt like I'm from the community that I was the principal of the school of. So one thing, and many of the teachers were from outside of the community. They drive in to work at the school. One thing that they felt like was the parents didn't care about the children. So, I'm writing everything down, going through the process. And I was like, when I got to that one, I had to stop myself like, wait, that's, we've got to talk about this, because this is not, I'm from the community. I know a lot of the parents, and I know that the parents care about their children. So we're going to have to figure out where this is coming from. And what we had to end up doing was making sure we added a lot of culturally relevant pedagogy to our PD. How did that look for you all, Tammy?
Well, we started similarly, like you guys, during your root cause analysis. I'm not sure which one you all started with, but our school actually went through two.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one was the 5 whys. And we started there because we had to ask ourselves, like, why are we here? Like, what happened that got us here?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that has caused us to be at this space? And so what I loved about the tool was it takes you deeper. You answer the question, and then you ask why again. And you ask to 5 layers of why. And so what we discovered was it was that our issue wasn't necessarily about who was at fault, like parents not supporting or anything. We saw that we had some foundational issues, and we were going to have to jump right into that and figure out how we were going to strengthen the foundation, because it's just like a house. If you don't have a strong foundation, you build it on sand, it's going to wash away. So
Mm-hmm.
we also went to a tree diagram, because the tree also helped us to really get down to the root of the problem, which we determined was culturally related. So it took us to that place, as you were saying, Shika, to really just sit down and kind of hone in on exactly what was going on, so that we
Mm-hmm.
would know which direction we needed to go in from there.
Correct. Good morning,
100%.
Principal Kafele. And we use that fishbone diagram, Tammy, to go through our root cause analysis. But we came to that conclusion that cultural relevant pedagogy and that thinking really just had to be level setted, and our staff needed a lot of training and professional development. So that's why we brought in those experts for that.
Yes, I love that comment, Leah, because Shika and I had talked about this when we were preparing. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be willing to take a deep introspective look at why what's happening is happening. And
Mm-hmm.
even when we go through a root cause analysis, and she could use the fishbone, we use the tree diagram, we use the 5 whys, those things can even be misunderstood as just being formalities. You
Mm-hmm.
really have to look inside and say, and be honest. You have to take a
Yes.
very honest look at exactly who you are and what has happened to get you where you are. Another part of that why, though, is because after you've figured out what's wrong and what needs to change, then you need to figure out what you need to do. But you still have to go back to the why. And that's what Dr. Muhammad was saying. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know why you're doing what you're doing. And that motive is very important, because you have to know, like, am I doing what I'm doing just to get out of school improvement, or am I doing what I'm doing so that my school can be a better school?
Exactly, because it has to be something that is beyond test scores. And that was another point that Dr. Muhammad really honed in on. That was just phenomenal.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was incredible. Like,
it was. You have to create that culture to where, first of all, people understand that we are not this score. Even though that's what it's saying right now, this is not us. You have to put that in the minds of the students, as well as the teachers, as well as the parents, because, you know, we know that those labels are, to me, just demeaning. It's a better way to come up with the labels for school improvement. I even put that in my dissertation work. We talk about having a growth mindset, but then we throw these labels onto schools and it demeans people. But you have to make sure everyone knows this is not who we are. And we have to show people who we actually are. So that's a whole part of building that culture. Another thing that Dr. Muhammad talked about too was just the work of Simon Sinek and that why, and that was, you know, a really good way to introduce that. I love his work as well. But a good place to start, according to, if you are working on PLCs in your school or your district, is having that guiding coalition that we learned about. And Tammy's going to talk a little bit about her SIT team that could be transformed into a guiding coalition. And this is your PLC is your school, the group of people that are on that guiding coalition to help drive that work. But we also had that at my school, and you know, we had to make sure that we were constantly setting aside time to meet. And you also have to be strategic about that. You can't have a group that is your guiding coalition, and then you got another group that is doing several other things. You may have to collapse some of your other groups into the guiding coalition. Really just kind of guides a lot of the work that we're doing, so you can make sure things are aligned, things aren't disjointed, and you don't have people all over the place, and you're not trying to divide yourself up into 1,000 pieces to get to all of these different meetings. So you have to really be strategic about that. And that's a lot of the work that Tammy and I do, helping you figure out how to do that. We get down into the grass and the weeds with you to figure out how to do it, to set your plan, to make sure that you are on a plan for success.
Exactly. And one of the things that Chico just talked about was collapsing some of those teams, because that was an issue at our school. We are required as a school that's in school improvement to have a school improvement team. So you have to have a SIT team. And just like all of you, you have a school leadership team, but you also have school grade level team chair teams, and I have an instructional leadership team, and you had all of these teams, and you're calling upon the same teachers to be members of these teams. And it feels like, I know it felt like that to them, because it felt that way to me. Like you're meeting to meet, like you're meeting to talk about what you're going to do at this next meeting. And that is very overwhelming. So what we have to do is we have to take the time to really pay attention to what the needs of the teachers are in the school or the staff, because that's the thing about the guiding coalition. It's made up of folks from throughout the staff. And what we are going to more than likely do is, at our back to school retreat with the instructional leadership team and my school improvement team, we're going to look at a way to make that coalition the guiding team for the school. One of the things that Dr. Muhammad shared, and I think this is really worth us just putting a little bit of emphasis on, when we're talking about making sure that we have these strong teams, we have to be considerate of the folks who are serving on the teams, which are our teachers and our staff. He talked about a study that Merrimack College did, I think, on teacher satisfaction. And he was saying how, I think in 2012, there were 39% of teachers who were satisfied. But in the study in 2022, you have 12% teacher satisfaction. So this is a problem. Like this is a
Mm-hmm.
problem universally, and it's a problem for all of us because if we don't pay very careful attention to the staff and the teachers and what their needs are, we are going to create more of an issue by trying to do what is right because you have to have the team in place to guide the process. So what you have to do is make sure that you've level set and that we're all on the same page about where it is we're going.
Definitely, Tammy. And the last thing, because we're at our time to where it's time to start making announcements, I just wanted to address some of the comments. Susan talked about MTSS, and we're going to have to continue this next week. Um, there are some things that I want to share about the MTSS process and enrichment and how that goes along with the PLC model, but we're running out of time, so I'll share that next week. And Jasmine talked about the language, and that messaging is definitely important. And she also mentioned that classified members are essential on the team, and that is so important. And he mentioned that as
He
well.
did. Absolutely, Jasmine. Sheik and I had that conversation just this morning.
We did. But the last thing that I want to share is that something that they kind of ended on too was that it's going to be people that, there's different people that exist in your building. And you know the different types of personalities that exist. There are going to be some people who get it right away and want to do it. And there are going to be some people who are just thinking, well, you know what, I'm just not feeling this. I don't want to do this. But it has to be a commitment. And this is a graphic that kind of just spells that out. This is referencing weight loss, but we're going to relate this to working a school, doing the work that needs to be done to get to that end goal. It's not going to happen overnight. It may not happen in 1 year. It may not happen in 2 years, but people have to be committed. They have to see the commitment of the leader. They have to see that you are committed to the process. So you have to model everything that needs to happen. You have to model it. They have to see it from the leader first, and then everyone else will understand. You have to go and check what you're expecting, and when you don't see it, you have to address it. All of those things have to be done in order for you to get to that end goal. And you have to keep reminding people that the reason you have to keep taking them back to their why, that's a part of your job as the leader, and reminding them why we are doing what we are doing is not going to happen overnight. And we are doing this because we want successful children. We want them to see success in themselves. So we have to do this work. So this is just a graphic that shows that through weight loss, but this also is related to what we definitely have to do with work in our schools.
And we will definitely finish because we'll share with you guys next week one of the things that Dr. Muhammad talks about, and it's in his book, Transforming School Culture. He really goes into how you have to deal with these people. And it's really important. Like Sheikah talked about, you have the people who are ready for it and just on it. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll kind of talk about who those folks are on your staff next week. And Josh, I'll just say this. I'm sure Sheikah danced. She likes dancing. I don't know how to dance. And fortunately, they had danced by the time I got to that last session. So I did that. They were finishing up the dance when I came in.
Yes, Josh, I dance. Okay, but we're out of time, and we want you to make sure you log on with us to Principal Kafele's virtual
Yes.
AP Leadership Academy. And also, I'm going to put a link to our We Connect Schools with Great Resources. I'm going to put that in the comments for you. This is our summer reading newsletter. So take a look at that when you have a chance. Lots of great resources, information for summer reading and math. And make sure you are engaging your parents in summer reading and math. Don't just let them be subject to the summer slide. Ask them for pictures, send out the reminders of whatever incentives you may have for students, but be proactive about that. And also, Josh is on here making us laugh about the dancing. He and I have a 10,000 steps club. Make sure you're getting your movement in, you're getting your 10,000 steps in. And join us next Saturday. We will be pre-recorded because we're going to be in Texas at the R.E.A.L.L Conference, but we will be back with you.
We're looking forward to being out there next week, Josh. And Susan, you're right. Everybody probably can dance, and I can dance. I'm just like 3 or 4 steps behind everybody else in the dance. So thank you guys so much, and we hope that you all have a great rest of your Saturday and a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Join us on Principal Kafele's page.
Yes, right away. Thanks, guys.